for July the 10th. And now we'll ask the clerk, if you will, please call the roll.
Mayor Brooks. Councilwoman McKenzie. Here. Councilman Estes.
Here.
Councilman Cassida.
Here.
Councilman May.
Here.
Councilman Hughes.
Here.
Councilman Webb.
Here.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Here. Okay. We're going to ask everyone to stand for our Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation by Steve. Okay. David, would you lead us in our pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Steve Martin. Yeah.
You guys bow with me, please. Father, thank you for the privilege to stand in an open public meeting and invoke your name for blessings beyond what you've already given us. The privilege to be Americans, the privilege to serve. Thank you for and ask your blessings upon these servants that sit behind the desk today, the ones that sit behind the table on the right side of the room. We ask for a covering for our community, favor for these men and women and their families, that they would continue to feel your presence in our prayers, that you would cover our servants of our city, our responders, their families, our military whose their families are here and they're serving elsewhere. Be in the details of today's meeting. Help us to look up, to notice the glass half full and not empty, and to give you the glory and the praise for all good things come from you. You said to keep vigilant watch over our hearts, because out of it all of life flows. Help us to do that in a critical world, a darker and darker world by the day, in a world that doesn't know as much about you as we once did. Help us to look more like you than we ever have. We'll praise you. In Jesus' name,
Amen.
Amen. Okay, first item on our agenda, next item on our agenda is to waive the reading of the minutes of the regular session of June the 26th.
Yeah.
Need a motion?
I move that the City of Cleveland, the City Council, waive the reading of the minutes of the meeting on June the 26th, 2023, and approve them as written.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion by Councilman May and a second by Councilman Webb. We'll ask clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman May.
Aye.
Councilman Webb.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie. Councilman Estes. Councilman Cassida.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Carries 7-0.
Okay,
Vice Mayor. I
yes,
make a motion to excuse Mayor Brooks from this meeting.
okay. All right, we have a motion.
It is, but I'd like to excuse him. I'm sure
Okay,
he's got something important.
we got a second?
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second to excuse Mayor Brooks' absence. Next item on the agenda,
Vote on
we
it.
have,
The vote.
yeah, okay, yeah, call the roll.
Councilman Cassida.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Councilman Webb.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie. Councilman Estes. Councilman May.
Aye.
It carries 7-0.
Okay,
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
all right, thank you, Councilman. Next item is special presentation and public comments. We have someone in the audience that would like to address the council. Okay. Item number 6 on our agenda. No, we won't go to that one. Let's look at our Make sure I get the right one here, okay.
You got Robert up there.
Yeah, item number 6, Robert. We have a public hearing to hear petitions and communication. We've had that. Public hearing to hear public comments concerning a request by Phyllis Lindbeck for consideration of an ordinance to zone about 2.52 acres, more or less, located at 373 Kyle Lane Southwest from IL Light Industry to R2 Low Density Single and Multifamily Zoning, included on tax map 057 partial 015-05. Planning Commission approves 7-0.
Yes, sir, thank you. Just a basic coverage of what's going on here. It's families wanting to build an additional house on their property. Property's zoned in light industrial, and the residential components of light industrial were removed several years ago. So to do it legally, we've got to get the property rezoned, but it's a family's building an additional house for a grandson. But I'm happy to answer any other questions if there are.
Okay. Anyone have any questions? Okay. Thank you. Item B, public hearing to hear public comments concerning a request by J. Holden LLC for consideration of an ordinance to zone about .22.
Vote on that first.
We have,
You have to open the public hearing and then close the public.
okay. Got you, Joe. Okay. So item B is,
Item A.
okay. We like to, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak in favor of item A, public hearing that you just heard? Anyone like to speak against it? No, if not, then we consider the public hearing on item A to be closed. And item B is public hearing to hear public comments concerning a request by J. Holden LLC for consideration of an ordinance to zone about .22 acres, more or less, located at 1350 Wildwood Avenue from CH Highway Commercial to R2 Low Density Single and Multifamily Zoning, included on tax map 057L, Group H 014, Planning Commission approved 7-0. Is there anyone in the audience that would like, well, Robert, you already.
Yeah, I can just speak briefly on it. Yes, sir. Thank
Okay.
you. And this is a single-family home that has been a single-family home for many years. It was recently remodeled through the selling process. It was noted that the property was zoned commercial, and for their loan, it needed to be a residential zoning. So we're just trying to fix that for their.
Okay. Anyone have any questions, Robert? If not, we'll consider the public hearing to be closed. Item C is public hearing to hear public comments concerning a request by Stephen and Elizabeth Clark for a nightclub permit to be located at 918 Sahara Drive and include tax map 041L, Group E, partial 003-1. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak in favor of this?
Well, I can just give you a little perspective. This is the first applicant we've received for this nightclub ordinance, and they fit checked all the boxes that we look at. So obviously, we've kind of gone through this process, and this will be a good thing. But I'm happy to answer any questions if anyone has any.
Anyone have any questions?
You know, Robert, the last time we dealt with something like this, the restaurant was close to homes,
That's right.
and it was over off of Stewart Road. It's now a Mexican restaurant. They had a band that play, and the neighbors, it bothered them.
Right.
I think Pokey's place is not close to any residential. It's all businesses around, and there's my understanding, right?
That's correct.
So
And
it
the-
shouldn't bother anybody.
That's correct, and the ordinance we have dictates that if you're to have this permit to be able to facilitate under these ramifications, then you have to be 750 feet from a residentially zoned property. And this particular location is even further.
Well, what I understand from the city manager is that they're gonna continue to do what they've been doing, and this just makes it legal.
That's correct. It makes it legal based on the recent ordinance changes that we've adopted. That's
Yes.
correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Mr. Vice
I'm
Mayor,
I'm just now seeing all the
yeah, we
information.
need to see if there's anyone that opposes it, and then close the public hearing.
Okay,
Yeah, that's on C.
okay. Is there anyone in the audience that opposes the public hearing or in the way of comments? Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of the proposal? If not, we'll declare item C closed. And next is the consent agenda.
Mayor, I move that we accept the consent agenda as written.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Any questions, any other discussion? If not, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Hughes,
Aye.
Councilman May,
Aye.
Councilman Webb, Vice Mayor Johnson,
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie, Councilman Estes, Councilman Cassidy.
Aye.
Carries 7-0.
Okay. Okay, under unfinished business, there are no items, but we have the report of the council members at this time. Councilman Webb,
Nothing today, Mayor, thank you.
okay, and next I got Vice Mayor Johnson. One thing I wanted to comment about was about the legislative session, the meeting that we had at the chamber recently. And it was very good, very informal, and a lot of information given out. And it was a chance for the council members to speak to our legislators and talk about issues. And I thought it was a very good meeting. So. That's all I have. Now, Councilwoman McKenzie.
I'd just like to say that the ribbon cutting that we had over at Mosby Park today was very nice. It's a beautiful park, and I just want to say thank you to everybody that made that happen.
Okay. Councilman Estes?
No, just agree with my colleague here. This morning was great. I know in the second district, maybe something that the rest of us might be interested in. City Fields has a barbecue coming up. They also have the Back to School Bash, which will be held in Mosby this year and not at Whitehall Field. They're taking donations for, backpacks and crayons and paper, pencils and stuff. And I've been to this many times before, and it's a huge turnout. So switching it over to again back to Mosby. It's been to different places. It's a big deal. If you can come out, it'd be great to join us. That's all.
Okay. Councilman Cassidy?
No, sir, I don't have anything at this time, thank you.
Okay. Councilman May?
Yeah, just one thing. Joe, we talked last meeting about the electric service on the Cherokee, and also you talked about a water leak. While you've got the cutters in, I'm concerned that it'd be nice to cut the road. So,
Yeah, we actually met with Cleveland Utilities Water this morning.
okay,
And they are, that's one of the reasons that road will be delayed till the 24th, so that gives them time to get everything they need. So they're gonna come in and fix water and sewer.
you're right. Did they talk about the electric
The electric,
lines?
they're getting us across to underground, from
Church
the way
Street.
From, yeah, First Street. Everything on Church Street along from First, I guess that's First on the other side too.
Yeah. Okay, good. That's all I've got there.
Okay. Councilman Hughes.
Yes, sir. I wanted to also say that Mosley Park is going to be a real plus for the Emmett Street area. It's beautiful. The grass is very, very nice. I know that's all sod, and the rain has helped it be beautiful. And for our staff that did such a marvelous job, I want to congratulate them. I agree with Councilman Estes that our city manager has special expertise in helping us with parks. And we have some very functional parks. One, Avery, in your name, that is a really nice park,
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and we're
Great.
proud of that. Now,
Yeah, totally
Michelle
agree.
Golson is here. Raise your hand, Michelle, back there. Michelle told me today while I was at Mosley Park, she said, I planted that tree 20 years ago. And it's beautiful, Michelle.
all the trees in Mosley Park.
You planted all of them? Wow, well, good for you. I didn't know that. But anyhow, that tree is so nice. And, you know, I told Avery that you had planted those. He said, yeah, but I watered them. So I don't know whether he's telling the truth or not, but he said he watered them. So anyhow, we had a great time at Mosley, and very thankful for that. I want to reiterate what the vice mayor said. The meeting we had with the senator and the two representatives was very informative. And our meeting actually was a meeting to twist their arm a little for Cleveland and what we need in the future. And I believe we did a pretty good job on that, don't you, Joe? We'll find out in the future, right?
I think you guys are pretty daunting.
But anyhow, that was a good meeting, informal meeting, and it turned out very well. Thank you, Mayor, that's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman. Item number 10 is new businesses and ordinances. Zoning ordinance, line item number 2023-27 is zoning of about 2.52 acres, more or less, located at 373 Kyle Lane, Southwest, from IL, light industrial, to R2, low-density, single, and multifamily zoning, and includes tax map 057, partial 015-05. Planning Commission approves 7-0.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Webb and a second by Councilman May. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Webb,
Aye.
Councilman May,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie, Councilman Estes. Aye. Councilman Cassidy.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Carries 7-0.
Okay. Item B is the zoning ordinance 2023-28. Zoning about .22 acres, more or less, located at 1350 Wildwood Avenue Southwest, from commercial highway to R2, low density, single and multifamily zoning, and is included tax map 057L, Group H, partial 014. Planning Commission approved 7-0. You made a motion of approval?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion by Councilman May and a second by Councilman Hughes. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman May,
Aye.
Councilman Hughes,
Aye.
Councilman Webb,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie,
Aye.
Councilman Estes. Aye. Councilman Cassidy.
Aye.
Carries 7-0.
Okay. Next, we have line item C, zoning orders 2023-24, and ordinance to zone about 8.0 acres, more or less, from R3 high-density single and multifamily zoning to PUD 45, planning unit of development, and includes tax map 041E, Group C, partial 006, partial 007, partial 013, partial 014, partial 015, and partial 016. Planning Commission denied 7-0.
Vice Mayor, can I speak to this to give some context of the vote, and then give some context only for myself, not of the planning commission, post-vote? Do
Okay.
you mind, before we entertain a motion, because I think I would like to make kind of a little different motion than what's before us. Robert, I saw Robert here. He just left again, okay. He saw it was on the agenda, he ran out. What came before the planning commission was to make this a PUD 45. That was the only option given us, is the only thing discussed at the time. And the discussion at the planning commission was, it was all about a sign for the church, an LED sign. And you can look at the minutes if you like, but the gist of the discussion was, why change zoning if this is for a sign? If a sign fits in what they do, let's change the sign ordinance, rather than mickey around with zoning of this. I think that carried the day, and everyone up here was against, said, yeah, let's not make a PUD just for a sign. Let's fix the sign, the sign ordinance where it fits situations like this. Since then, I haven't had any pushback. I haven't really had any, but I've had discussions with folks about it, is that, and if we think about Peerless, and we think about right where Raider Drive comes into Peerless, now this is Billy Estes talking, not the planning commission. I was just giving you the rationale from our minutes, which is in our packets, as to why the denial, the unanimous denial. Now I'm speaking as Billy Estes. Peerless Road, up to that point and a little bit further, is quite professional. There's doctor's offices, there's a pharmacy, there is Bradley Health Initiative, there's the farmer's market. A lot of that's professional. There's an accountant's office, there's a real estate office, all of it uptown Peerless there. One of the things that this piece of property meets that I didn't really know at the time, they could apply to be PI, and then they could do a sign anyway. So if they applied to be PI, this is Billy Estes talking, it would be hard for me to vote against that on the planning commission. I think it'd be difficult for the planning commission to turn down, because they meet every requirement for getting PI. If they did PI, then they could do the sign. But we didn't see that as an option, and it wasn't applied at the time. It wasn't brought up in our discussions. Let me backtrack a little bit. If this were to be a PUD 45, as is presented, the city then can negotiate what is acceptable and not, in terms of how much lumen is in the sign, how large is the sign, when does the sign turn on and turn off. These things are all negotiable in a PUD, where they're not if it's PI.
That's right.
None of this was brought up at planning commission. I would like this to go through, but I think it would be best, my preference, that this go back to planning commission for a month, have a broader discussion with the PI options, and maybe, yeah, I think that might change our minds on the PUD 45. I'd rather see the planning commission vet this, say yes, and send it back to us, nice and clean, rather than us let's have a more full discussion than we didn't have at the planning commission. That's what I'm asking. So I'm happy to talk about this before I make a motion, just if you guys have other thoughts.
Anybody have any questions?
Robert, can I ask a question on this Peerless? It's on the density, it's R3. It's not zoned, for the church is not supposed to be an R3, correct? It needs to be changed, correct? Correct me
That's
if I'm
correct,
wrong.
yeah, sorry
Okay,
about that.
so we need to move on. Which way we need to do is to get it out of the zone it's not
Yes,
supposed to
there's,
be.
multiple uses, that they utilize on that piece of property. That's why we went with PUD, because it's instead of throwing a mixed use, type zoning out there, the PUD kind of fit the categories and allowed us to specifically identify what they're doing, as opposed to a blank canvas.
And that could be changed. We talked at other meeting, that's a living, breathing document. So as they go forward, other things be added, or if they want to add things, they have to come back to the planning commission or to
And
the
then-
city
and
to,
the city council is-
and the
yes,
city council go
that's
through
correct.
that process. So,
That's why we chose to go that route originally.
thank you.
Well, one thing we did, Councilman Estes, we took it off of the agenda last meeting. Now we're gonna delay them actually a month because we're not having another meeting in July. So
if-
we're gonna delay them to go back when,
That's fine, you know what, I mean, we can vote on it now if it's a
Yeah,
time
I-
issue for them, but I
Yeah.
don't think, the planning commission just heard it, so it's not like it was, we couldn't have heard it anyway, so it's not.
yeah,
So, yeah, it would be a month for a sign. We could vote on that now. The other wrinkles, I wish we would have had a more full discussion of the planning commission, very disappointed.
right.
Right? I wish that Big Springs Baptist on Wildwood would have gotten the same treatment. There's other things that, you know, that are going on here than just clean, let's do this for the Church of God of Prophecy, Fearless Road, right? We've got the Wesleyan Church right down the street has a sign. Does it meet code? You know, haven't heard anything on that. There's just enough variables here. Instead of just doing, hey, yeah, you can have your sign, let's zone it right now. Let's let city staff get it right for everybody going forward. Because it's not just about Peerless Road, Church of God of Prophecy. It's about treating others fair as well and getting a full discussion.
That's true. I think the city staff has it right. I think
And
that
I'm
they're
of a
ready.
different opinion, because none of that was brought up, and you can see in our minutes it's lacking
Yeah.
as the PI. I think they have it right on the end, right? But I think process is important, that everything is brought in and looks fair on paper. Not that, yeah, I can go with PUD now, right? I can go with PUD. None of that was presented
Yeah.
at the planning commission. And so, did the public get to hear all this? Did we get to hear it on the planning commission? I'd rather see the planning commission hear the whole picture and us discuss it. Get on the same page. I don't know how they'll vote, and then bring it here. That's all, that's,
Well,
I make
I guess the other thing is, other churches can come forward if they have things they want to add to it too. We can look at those individually. This is somebody now looking at this.
that's not true.
I mean, they can still come back.
Other churches cannot come and talk about this PUD. Other churches can't come and talk about their zoning. They have to ask for rezoning in their own PUD.
That's what he said.
No, that's,
Go ahead.
So,
What'd you say?
Yeah. I make
you got a substitute motion? I mean, you got a motion?
well, I think Councilman May, again, I'm not,
Yeah, I know where you're coming from,
Yeah.
Bill. It's kind of a unique situation, and you're saying that you feel that the planning commission would approve it if they had the information that we've got.
I can't speak for them.
Yeah, I
can
know
speak
it,
for
but
me.
yeah,
I think I'd feel better, but I also think it's not just about Peerless Road. It's.
I know,
there are
you're
other-
wanting to treat everybody
Yeah,
equal.
and I think the
Yeah.
process is important.
Yeah. Well, I make a motion that we approve,
Second.
and I understand where Bill's coming from, so.
Okay, we got a motion by Councilman May and a second by Councilman Hughes.
Yes.
All right. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman May,
Aye.
Councilman Hughes,
Aye.
Councilman Webb,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie, Councilman Estes,
Christie, I'd like the minutes to reflect my reason for a no vote is not the outcome of the zoning, but the process by which the city took place. No.
Councilman Cassidy,
Aye.
carries 6-1.
Okay. We have a couple of announcements. The July 24th meeting, which was scheduled at the second,
Is there a reason,
the second week in July, is that meeting's also canceled, Joe?
council, is there a reason for the 20, is it a holiday or?
No, Tennessee Municipal
I
League
just-
is meeting. Yeah.
I thought the second of July, the second week, second Monday, we still having that meeting in July?
No,
No,
the
that's
second
done
meeting.
gone.
Yeah,
It's coming up. This is it.
yeah. First
Okay,
meeting in
so the
August.
24th is the meeting that we're canceling.
Yeah.
All right. And the next city council meeting will be held on Monday, August the 14th. All right. Nothing else. Gentlemen, we are adjourned. Let me make sure, is there anyone in the audience that want to address the council? Because we was kind of confused a little bit starting off. If not, we are adjourned.